Please keep in mind that these are methods I use most every day and have worked for me in the past. However, all horses are different, as well as people's feel and timing are different from my own. Please exercise safety first for both horse and handler.
Hi folks, Trainer 101 here again with you for March 2011, our tack and training tips. And this month we're going to be talking about building a better stop or progressing into a better stop. But before we get into that, I just want to remind everybody that Axel here is competing to be America's favorite trail horse. And he has his own Facebook page. It's Axel, America's favorite trail horse competitor. And if you want to know this little horse's story and how he and I came to be together, just go to his Facebook page and click like. And you can keep up with our progress, what we're working on this year, what we're training on. And even if we don't make it to finals, it's sure going to be a lot of fun. So keep that in mind as we go through some of this stuff. And you're going to see a lot of him this summer. He's my new clinic horse, and he's going to be on a lot of these videos this summer, so keep a watch out for him. Now, when we talk about a stop, okay, we don't actually have to teach our horses to stop, do we? They stop automatically in the pasture. What we're asking is that the horse stop when we ask them to and be soft when we ask it. All right? So let's break the horse down into parts. That's the easiest way to understand something, is to break it down into its smallest parts, and then we can assemble it all together, and we can build that stop out of understanding. Okay? With knowledge, you get power, and with power, you can do anything. So, what we're going to do is we're going to look at our horse like a car, okay? The front end here is our steering wheel. The two front legs are kind of like the front tires on your car, okay? They just roll. They're supposed to just roll. Wherever you point and steer, that's where they go. The hind is your motor, okay? This right here is what drives this horse. And at any point in time, almost every rider has encountered a heavy stop on the forehand. Now that's here. Right here in the shoulders, okay? What that means is that the horse naturally carries its weight here on the front end, most of the time. So when we ask a horse to stop and stop collected, some horses are pretty natural at it, others aren't. There are things that come into be with bits and saddle fit and all that stuff. But for the time being, we're just going to stay with the rope halter, and there's some things you can do on the ground to better prepare your horse. And to build that up, a bigger bit doesn't mean a better stop, okay? First of all, I want everybody to understand that. Just because your horse won't stop in a snaffle does not mean going up to a 9-inch shank bit is going to be the key, all right? That horse needs to understand stop from right here on the ground. So when we talk about stopping on the forehand, that's the stop where you sit and you bounce, okay? Now what that is the horse has locked its front wheels up. The brake's just locked up on the front end of your car, but the motor's still driving. The hind has not committed into that stop yet. And what that's doing is that is driving the front end, and the front end is having to bounce on the ground like this to stop. When I talk about that horse committing with the stop, is that when we talk about committing, this horse is going to pull up underneath. Right here, he's going to stop and commit, and then the front are just going to roll along with this horse, okay? And it'll be a natural, it'll be a smooth stop. You'll just sit down, and you'll feel that horse just glide to a stop, okay? Now, the things to understand how to get that is, first of all, we need to get this right here soft, from the nose back to the withers, okay? This head, neck, pole region here all has to be soft, okay? And if we can get that, when you ask for a stop, if that horse's nose goes out like this, and he locks up and pushes on the bit and is trying to pull the reins out of your hands, okay, a lot of times that's when you're going to get that hard-hitting, slamming stop. So on the ground, what you can do to get them soft is just simply work with them, lunge them on line here. I do a lot of groundwork with my horses, even with him, and now that he's riding really good, I still do a lot of it. I warm my horses up that way. I make sure they're listening to me. And in this rope halter, I can actually achieve probably more in this rope halter than I can by putting my horse in a harsh bit. Okay? Even a mild bit can be harsh in wrong hands. So always remember that every time you're stepping it up a notch, we go from this to a snaffle, you're going to want to give your horse adjustment time. Okay? Play with it. See what is going to work for your horse, because a lot of times the things that will work for someone else may not work really well for you, and that is a lot to do with your horse, your feel, your timing, your experience. So take your time with it. It's supposed to be fun. Teaching our horses are supposed to be fun, not a hassle, and it's supposed to be a learning experience. But the thing I can't stress enough is that if you yourself do not understand it, you cannot teach it to your horse. Okay? If you're having trouble with this and you are really needing some help, okay, it's a good idea to call somebody that's been doing it for a long time. Go see a couple of clinics. Go watch maybe a local trainer as they're teaching this horse. Pick up some ideas, okay? Now, one of the things that I really like to do with my horses to teach them, one thing to teach them to stop when I ask is to just bend them around. And I'm going to take this halter and lead rope, and I'm just going to bend this horse around a little bit. I'm going to ask him to stop, okay? To stop the hindquarters here and to give me his head and neck, okay? When he does, I'm going to release him. Good boy. Pick him up again. Good boy. Now, if your horse sits and spins, everybody talks about getting the horse soft. If your horse would sit and spin, just hold on to him. Okay? If you just hold on to him, wait till he stops his feet and gets soft and is not pulling. You can see that even when I give this horse slack, it's not until I release this rein, I've just got it here, it's not until I release it that he gets soft, okay? You're going to want to do that on both sides until your horse can understand it properly. Alright? Because if the hind doesn't stop now, it's going to be harder to stop when we get on. Alright, okay? Another thing is, when you walk your horses, prepare them to stop. We're going to walk forward, whoa. And then just slightly pick up on the halter, and if they don't stop, you're just going to kind of bump it, until they stop and take a step back. Because ultimately, the best stops, that horse really isn't thinking stop. What's he thinking? Backing up. The good stop is the hindquarter sets itself up underneath that horse to go backwards. Okay? So really, when we look for a good stop, we're looking for a stop and a suck back. You want your horse to suck back into the tracks that he just left. When you can achieve that, when you can get to that point, okay, put the snaffle bit in and let him wear it, and then start doing these exercises with the snaffle. Alright? Start getting that horse to bend and yield and be soft in that snaffle bit before you get on. Alright? You can take this horse and have them be soft right here, stop and stand. Now, one of the important things that people often forget to do or to think about is that it doesn't matter if you are starting your very first horse or this is your old horse that you've had for 10 years. That horse will stop better and will pay attention better when he wants to stop. So the key factor in this is, if your horse is not wanting to pay attention and listen, go warm him up. Go lope him some circles. Go do your groundwork. If it's a horse that has never been rode before and you're trying to get first rides on him, do your groundwork. Take him up and down some hills. Make him lunge up and down hills. Jump him over barrels. Anything you can think of, get creative. Okay? Take him between trees. When that horse is thinking stop, at the end of it, don't let him stop until you say. When you ask him to stop, now it has become your idea, not his. Okay? If your horse locks up and says, I'm done, keep moving him through it until you say stop. And when you say stop, that's his reward. It has become his idea to stop and stand, just like Axel stopping and standing now. Okay? I took him out here, and what I did is I lunged him over. I had him jump some barrels. I had him got some old tires set up here that don't have any wires or anything sticking out, so they're not a danger. have him jump that. I had him lope some circles, backing up, disengaging his hindquarters and things like that. And then when you come up here and you start wanting to be soft and you want him to stand still, he's all for it, okay? And your other horses will be too. And later when we get to the riding portion of this, it's going to be very critical that we warm our horses up on the ground as we go along. We check that horse out before we get up. And then when we get up, we don't ask for the stop until we've warmed them up and they're thinking they want to stop, okay? For the first rides on a young horse, one of the worst things you can do is shut him down when he just gets his feet moving. That young horse needs to move his feet to engage his mind, okay? An older horse, a lot of times, you just need to move their feet to show them that you can, and that you can guide them where you say to guide them. By the end of the session, come back, start working on some of this stuff, and next thing you know, your horse will be paying a lot more attention to you and will be ready to listen a little faster the next time. What we want is we want to not have to spend 2 hours every day before we ride doing groundwork to prepare our horses to have a good stop. That's not the point of this. The point is to prepare your horse to engage his mind faster and faster and faster every single day. Okay? That's important. When we talk about that, it only will take 10-15 minutes. Some of you will have trouble. It may take an hour. Okay? The next day, 45 minutes. The next day, 30 minutes. You never know, okay? Sometimes it depends on your ability to work with your horse. So sometimes if you only have 10-15 minutes a day, then that's what I would recommend you do. Go out and do one side. If you can only do one side until that horse stops, gets soft, it gets real supple, and is just relaxing. And when he stops on one side, then go ahead and go to the next. The next side the next night, whatever you can do. Okay? So I hope I've explained some of the things. Next time we're going to go through and I'm going to put the bit in his mouth and we're going to talk a little bit about getting the adjustment correct on your snaffle bit and what are some of the key things to do with that snaffle bit once you put it in before you get in the saddle. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time on our tack and training tips.